Okay, today's tutorials, we're going to work out these problems. We have 4 problems we're going to work out. The first one right here is auto check motors. So what we're doing today, all we're going to do today is we're going to write an equation, define our variables, we're going to decide whether we have discrete or continuous data, and we're going to, if we can, make a domain and range, and we're going to solve. So this first problem, it says auto check motors charge Paula $84 for an auto part plus $68 per hour that a mechanic worked to install the part. When Paula picked up her car, the bill was $628. How many hours did it take him to fix her car? So I don't know about you guys, but at least for me, I find I can always write an equation. I have no explanation for this. I can write the equation a lot easier than I can define the variables. So to me, it's really obvious that this is y equals 84 plus 68x. Because I only buy, what? Got blurry all of a sudden. I only buy the part once, so I don't have to multiply that by x, and I pay $68 per hour. So that means, so when I try to figure out what the x variable is, okay, I can always tell what x is because, my pencil needs to be sharpened, but I can always tell what x is because x is whatever is after the word per or each or for one or for every. So every time I see one, we're recording, every time I see one of these questions, every time I see those words per, each, for one, oh my God, seriously, I'm just doing this in pen. Every time I see one of these, I look for it. So $68 per hour, that means x is the number of hours. Okay? Now, when I look at y, I think, okay, if I take $68 per hour, so $68 times however many hours it takes them to work, plus that $84, what is that going to tell me? What is that going to tell me, guys? The total cost? Right, it's going to tell me the total cost. It's going to tell me how much my bill is. Okay? So, what do you guys think? Do you think this data is discrete or continuous? Why do you think it's discrete? You're absolutely right. Yeah, they don't charge you. You're right. When you get work done in your car, they might charge you by like the quarter hour. I've seen them do like 8.5 or 8.25, but they don't really go much lower than that. So they do not, they're not going to like prorate you completely. So we're going to say that they're actually charging us per hour. In either case, this data would be discrete. Okay, so if the data is discrete, that means that my graph is going to be a bunch of dots and that my domain is going to be a list. Okay, so we know that in this situation, she spent a total of $628. So we can write a domain and range for this, okay? I have an equation, so I'm going to find my calculator, and I'm going to take this equation, which is, let's clear that, 84 plus 68x, and I'm going to look at my table. Now, if I go down to 0, that's saying, it says 084, so what that's saying is, before I do a single thing, he's got to buy the part. So before I even drive my car in there, they have to have the part. I have to have the part before they can do the repair. So my domain, even if I can have 0 hours, I could have 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and it says we work for a total of $628, right? Well, how many hours is that? 8. So all the way up to 8 hours. That's my domain. And it's a list because, remember, we're being charged by the full hour. My range is the y values that go along with those. So if I work for 0 hours, that's going to be $84. If he works for 1 hour, that's $152, $220, $288, all the way to $628. Okay? So that's how I would write my domain and range for this one, because presumably once he fixes the car, he stops working on it, right? That's the plan. Okay, so what this means is it took 8 hours to fix the car. Okay, now if you look, we can actually look at other questions they might answer. They might say, okay, if it took him 5 hours to fix the car, how much money would it cost? Well, if it took him 5 hours, that would be $424. So this is the reason why a lot of people, like when we write an equation, a lot of people want to do this one. 628 equals 84 plus 68x. But this equation right here only answers one question. How many hours did it take to fix the car? With this equation, I can answer any question they give me. If they say it took 3 hours, how much did it cost? If they say it cost $764, how many hours did it take? I can answer any question they ask me. So when we write an equation, we always try to write the most general equation that we can, which in this case has a y and an x. Questions about that one?